This is the sweet sound of success with Sue Wilhite, Profit Attraction Master. Emmalou Penrod is a retired school teacher, certified consulting hypnotist, and HypnoBirthing childbirth educator. Most of her education career was spent as a special education teacher. She wrote the book, Navigating the Educational System: 5 Strategies to Get the Best for Your Child. And she started a podcast show in support of families to provide useful information and support for parents. Welcome, Emmalou. Thank you for being on my show.
Well, thank you, Sue. It is a delight to be here.
Yes, and I'm so glad that we got our schedules to work and we got everything managed to line up so that we could finally get together and have this wonderful chat. So for my viewing audience, for those of you who have never seen an episode before, the subtitle of The Sweet Sound of Success is The Hero's Journey for the Entrepreneur's Soul. And so we're going to have 5 parts to this conversation. And those are Emmalou's ordinary beginning, her call to action, the big hairy monsters that she got to play with in the course of her journey, the allies, mentors, and guides who helped lift her wing, because I believe that that's a part that is left out of many entrepreneurs' public face, is all of the people who have helped, who have guided, who have mentored. And finally, another favorite part of this show for me is what happens after you become an entrepreneur. And there's all these people in your life who may or may not be able to cope with that. So, Emmalou, what was your ordinary beginning?
Well, I had a lot of twists and turns in my career. I just started out as a wife and mother. And then as my youngest child started off to school, I went back to school, got my degree, and went into teaching school. I loved that. I was even able to teach at the same high school that my children went to.
Ooh,
So
was that a good thing or a bad thing?
It was actually a very good thing.
Oh, good.
I was a special ed teacher. None of my children were in special ed. So I never had them in one of my classes. They would just, as my daughter said, it was easy lunch money.
Right? But you would always know if they played hooky.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
There was no way that they could get out of that.
We could ride together, and
Right.
Actually I have a lot of happy memories of that.
Oh, good.
So, and I remember feeling so happy and contented that I knew exactly how much money I would earn every month and when it would arrive. But, my husband and I became personal development junkies.
Right.
And we started going to all of these webinars and learning about how to, dream big, how to become even better. And that just kept pulling at us. We just kind of kept going, and we loved it. We loved the idea that you can be anything you want to be. Well, while I was a special ed teacher teaching in a high school, I noticed that most teenagers, and then I think it's maybe true of everyone, underestimate themselves. They really don't recognize their own potential. And
Right.
how tragic. You can have really a very good mind, but if the person who has that mind doesn't recognize it, doesn't believe in it, doesn't believe in themselves, it's a wasted resource.
It is. And it's so common. I mean, it's one of the reasons why these self-help and personal development educators came into being, is because there were people running around going, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, I can't do this. Oh. And with a little bit of help and encouragement, they just blossom. So yeah, it's an undeveloped resource.
And I began to see that there was a, that the school system could be improved, that we could. So that led to writing my book. So about the same time, I started writing my book. I started a podcast. The goal of the book was to help parents understand how they could take an active role in helping their child with their education. Some parents have the mindset that, their child turns 5, they turn them over to the public school system, just hand him back when he's 18.
Right.
And in the special ed setting, where you find the greatest success is when the parents and the school personnel who are working with this child with special needs collaborate. They form this cohesive team focusing on the student's best interest. And I would see students in that setting excel and learn and grow far more than anyone would have expected.
Right.
But I also saw the reverse, where distrust builds up. The parents don't trust the school personnel don't trust the parents. IEP meetings are just this contest of adult egos, and the student is completely lost in the shuffle.
Right. And they're caught between everything else and may not have everything that they need, the child needs, to negotiate any of this.
Yeah.
So
that's why I wrote the book. I wanted parents to understand more about their options and working with school personnel. And then the podcast, I just wanted to provide good, useful information to parents, which includes options in all areas. And in the process of the podcast, I have been able to interview some of the most amazing, fascinating people with brilliant ideas that I think could really be useful to parents. So that's how I got started with that. And then it just kind of led to, I'm getting ready to retire. At the age I could, I've been teaching for 23 years.
Wow.
And I started the idea of, let's have a business. Let's become an entrepreneur. Let me be my own boss. Set my own hours and and pursue, that is one thing. One drawback with the school system, you're limited as to what you can do. You're really there's a lot of red tape. Even I ended my career at a private school, which was much more supportive, much more flexible. But even there, you're still, it's the person who hands you your paycheck.
Right.
You really got to keep them happy.
Right. And it's not necessarily about what's best for the kids, let alone the parents.
Yeah. So that's how I got into the entrepreneur part of it. And I'm loving it. I'm meeting just, again, the most amazing, all this positive energy. You get around, you get in a group of entrepreneurs and the energy level just goes up.
Right. I think entrepreneurs are some of the best people out there.
Yeah.
And in the mind, body, spirit space, which if you're a hypnotist, then, you get around those people and 99% of them really do. It's like, okay, let's lift everybody up. Let's make it happen. Let's lift the energy. I mean, the first thing in any group of what I call inspired practitioners, okay, let's ground and connect. Let's get grounded. Let's get connected. Let's bring in the positive energy, and people try to work through stuff. It's really wonderful.
It is. And what I've also noticed is they take ownership.
Yes.
You're not blaming people. Sometimes when you're in that world of the employee, it's easy to, well, I couldn't help it that I was late. Well, it's somebody else's fault.
Right.
And when you're an entrepreneur, you want to make it successful. You take full responsibility.
Exactly.
You take charge of your life.
Because it's your business.
Yep. No one's going to care about it like you do.
Right. Exactly. No one. So was there something in particular that drew you to become a hypnotist?
It was a friend. I will be honest. I will be honest. I grew up during that era when the hypnotist was the villain in the movie.
Right.
And we just kind of, don't want to have anything to do with that.
Right.
But I became well acquainted with a woman I really respected. She had high integrity. She was very caring and compassionate. And she had been a registered nurse. And now she was a hypnotherapist. And she was teaching a class on hypnosis and invited me to join. And I had to admit that I really didn't know that much about it.
Right.
So I signed up for the class mainly because my friend was teaching it and I knew I could stand to learn more about it. It did not take me long to realize this isn't something scary or mysterious or something to be distrusted. This is just learning more about how your mind works. Yes. It's a powerful tool. Since I've taken that class, I use self-hypnosis on a regular basis. It's very similar to meditation, but you get yourself focused and directed and you reach your goals much faster.
Exactly. I see a lot. I don't know whether you're on the internet much, but I see a lot of things that are, life hacks or mind hacks. And it's like, oh yeah, I learned that in hypnotherapy school 20 years ago. Where have you been? Exactly.
Yeah. It is a powerful tool. And so, and I, again, have learned from so many people along the way. And isn't it fun to learn? Don't you just?
It is. I find it so. I mean, I love learning new things, new techniques. I'm sure you're the same. It's like you find a new technique and it's like, oh, goody. Ooh, let's play with this. Ooh, does this work better than the old one? Yeah, let's use this because it's more effective. Or it solves something else that we weren't previously able to access. It's lovely. Yes.
Yeah.
So what were some of the I call them big hairy monsters, the challenges, the things that might have been stumbling blocks, rocks in the road, that sort of thing?
I will have to admit, the first was technology. So I had to learn the learning curve. Setting up my podcast, I had to learn Audacity. I had to learn website. Right. And, my grandchildren know it much better than I do. So I credit, I had a 12-year-old granddaughter who came over to my house, got me set up in Audacity. I credit her for getting me into podcasting.
Nice.
And what is exciting to me is now she's 17. She's going through cosmetology school and ready to start her own business. She's picked her name. She's going to be Hair by Meg. Isn't that cute? I love it. So I'm excited seeing a granddaughter choosing the entrepreneur path.
Yes.
But
choosing it. Yes.
Yeah. she's excited. So now okay. So technology was a big challenge, and the learning curve, and then being so excited. Here I have this amazing business. I'm going to help so many people. I love this. This is so exciting. Now, how do I tell people about it?
Marketing.
Yes.
Yes, the ugly stepchild, the redheaded stepchild of business. Few people like marketing for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in a way, it's almost like going on a job interview every day.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And particularly in the kind of work that we do where it's very intrapersonal, it's not like you can put a picture of a sneaker up and say, buy these sneakers. Hey, don't these look cute? It's like, do you like me?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is. That's another.
Yes, marketing. I have to say that I've grown to like it, if not love it, especially once I took the marketing part away from the sales part. And what I tell my coaching clients is sales is really simple. Sales is, how would you like to pay for that? That's it. That's all sales is, because sales is ringing it up. How would you like to pay for that? You have a PayPal account? Are we doing a bank transfer? What credit card, cash, sheep, rice, chickens? How are we negotiating that? Everything up until that point is marketing.
Yeah.
And so when I get people to understand that marketing is the conversation, and then sales is very simply, how do you pay for, how do you want to pay for that? Yeah. They get unhooked from the, how are I going to get them to buy? It's like, you don't. You just have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a big, hairy monster for most people, and very challenging and very threatening.
Yes.
For most people. So besides your 12-year-old granddaughter, who were some of your allies and mentors and guides along your journey?
Well, my husband, he has supported me and encouraged me. He's even taken over doing the dishes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
And cooking. So
even better.
But yeah. And then when I get frustrated and I don't know if I can figure this out, and he's, yes, you can. You're doing great. I like the way you did this. So he has been absolutely wonderful. I deeply, deeply appreciate him. And he's done his own business ventures himself, but he's still supported me in mine. And then as we went through all of these personal development, we've connected with people who are further down the same path, that have been amazing mentors, offering encouragement, just a gem of wisdom here and there, bit of advice. It has been, and then networking. Yes. I absolutely love networking.
Yes.
Not only the energy level, but people who've learned that hard lesson you're working on learning are able to give some, just enough information to help make it easier. Just knowing there's somebody else has gone down this long, dark road and they're up there and they made it, so I can too.
Yes. Yes. And, reaching along the path behind you is also extremely rewarding.
Yes. saying, don't worry, it's okay.
Yep.
You can do it.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I have loved it. That and also just knowing there are really, the news looks rather bleak, but in reality, I'm finding the world is full of people who want to help.
Very full. It is so amazing. The media seems to concentrate a lot on all of the anger and the angst and the horror that's out there. And yes, there is. I 100% there is. However, there are also millions of people who are out there in the trenches, helping, giving, doing good work, helping other people to be better in some way, shape, or form.
And that care, that really care.
Yes. Yes. Isn't it wonderful?
It is. I love it. I love it.
And of course, mindset helps you find people like that.
Yes.
Right?
There's something about you find what you're looking for.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. So, Emmalou, tell me about, it sounds like your husband is very supportive of what it is that you do. When Joseph Campbell talks about the hero's journey, he talks about how the hero goes out, has the experiences, deals with the hairy monsters, and comes back, and after the party's over, welcoming the hero home. Then what happens? There's this, there's this, not quite a letdown, but there's this, how do you integrate back into society after you've had these interesting experiences? For instance, how do your former colleagues, your teacher friends, deal with you being, an entrepreneur, being out there, having your own business, doing your own thing?
It's not just my former colleagues, it's also my adult children.
Aha.
And, I have found in some circles, I don't talk about it much just because when it does come up, you see these blank stares like, why on earth would you do that?
Right.
And when are you really going to retire?
Right. Yes, retirement is for horses.
Yes. And and I have now, to be fair, some of my children have been very supportive, but some of them are just kind of, I think mom's going through a phase. Let's just be patient with her.
It's just a phase.
And, some people just want to believe I'm a retired school teacher. And if I start talking about, well, I have meetings and I have, and I have a sign I put on my door that says working from home, please don't ring the bell or knock,
right,
sort of thing. And they're just kind of, some of them really don't want to know. You're so excited. I want to talk about this. I just finished teaching a HypnoBirthing class. It was amazing. I could see, this mother's desire to really have this ideal, calm birth.
Yes.
And it was so exciting. And, and you try to start I just finished a HypnoBirthing class. And they're kind of like, can we change the subject?
Right.
So, sometimes you have to have that internal drive. You have to celebrate your own successes, even if you're not going to be applauded.
Right. And actually, what you just reminded me of, Oh, now I'm trying to think of the movie. It wasn't The Longest Yard. It was the movie. A friend of mine finally sat me down and made me watch it. It was the movie about the young black kid who was trying to get into football and was adopted by this white couple, this rich
Yes,
white
yes.
couple. And the mom goes to lunch with her friends,
Uh-huh.
and they
Uh-huh.
are so racist, first off. Not even subtle about the racism, but they're so subtly scornful of what she
What
has
she's doing.
chosen.
Yeah.
And she just has this light bulb moment of, you know what? I don't need your approval.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do. Yes, I want to find that clip and say, just substitute entrepreneur or
Uh-huh.
having my own
Uh-huh.
business
Yeah, yeah.
for
Yeah,
this whole conversation.
I think that is one quality that you need as an entrepreneur is you can no longer be dependent on what other people think of you.
Yes. Yes.
And I know exactly the movie you're talking about, and the title
is somewhere
okay.
in there. Yes. I'll put it in the credits when I when I edit this show.
I will sit up at 2 a.m. and say, oh yeah, it's.
I'm going to call my friend after this interview and go, what was the name of that movie?
But it is a good movie, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But that one scene, it just sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of it. You know, that is exactly what happens when entrepreneurs talk to people who have never been entrepreneurs, never wanted to be entrepreneurs, would have no clue how to even start their own business.
Yeah, I feel for the entrepreneurs that, the family men.
Yes.
That have dependent children living at home, and people, they may even have to deal with anger. How dare you?
Yes.
What do you think you're doing?
Yes.
It takes courage. I think it's about following your heart, whether it's supporting someone else, like the mother did, or just, pursuing a dream.
Yes. Yes. And helping other people.
Yes.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I love it when I see in the news that some 8-year-old has just crossed over $1 million in sales because he or she is helping somebody. They've come up with a brilliant idea and it serves a purpose. It fills a need, and boom, they're set.
Yeah. Yeah. We need more of that.
Yes. More of that support, more of that creativity, more of that helping instinct being let out.
Yes. For sure. And as I was studying the school system, how it could be improved, there is a school model where there isn't a required curriculum. Each student is encouraged to develop their talents and pursue their interests. And from that model, they follow up on what happens to students who graduate from this school. And there is a much higher percentage of entrepreneurs.
I betcha. If you've got permission to do that and encouragement to follow it up.
Yeah.
And in fact, encouragement, this is the biggest part, encouragement to fail and to make mistakes and to go, oh, oops, that didn't work. Try something else.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? That's one of the biggest things that I think stops a lot of people from being entrepreneurs, because they think if they fail, they run into a stopping point, they're done.
Yeah.
Except they're not.
No.
Yeah, it's just choose again.
Yeah. And I love the saying, some days I win, some days I learn. you know.
There you go.
And you really don't lose. If you make a mistake and you've learned from it, you did not lose.
Exactly. Exactly. You actually made progress.
Yep.
Yeah. So I always have a surprise question at the end of my interviews.
All right.
Because that's the way life is, right?
Yes.
There's always a surprise.
There always is.
And it's a good one. So Emmalou, what is your favorite part about what it is that you do?
The favorite part about what I'm doing is I have the opportunity to meet far more new people than I would. If I were just a retired school teacher, I would not be meeting as many people as I am now and learning from them. I learn from every person I meet. And
Nice.
I'm learning that there are so many good people in this world, so many people who want to help, who care about others, that I'm just coming away with a lot of hope. And
Yes.
I acknowledge we have some challenges right now, but I have hope.
Yes.
So I would have to say it's the people. You know, I have a ritual at the end of every day. I'd like to list what I'm grateful for, the good things that happened that day. And I find almost everything I write is about people. Glad I met somebody. Glad I got to spend time with them, learn from them. So it's about people.
How wonderful. That's awesome. So, Emmalou, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, they can contact me through my website. I actually have two websites, one for the podcast, insupportoffamilies.com, and then the one my business is hypnosisformotivation.com. But I use the numeral 4, so it's hypnosis, number 4, motivation.com. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook under my name. I have my Facebook page is Hypnosis for Motivation, my business page. So those are probably the best ways.
Wonderful.
Contact me. I love feedback. I love it when people download my podcast and then comment on it or let me know. And if there's more information, I welcome if there, more information people want. I'd love to respond to that.
Wonderful.
Any way I can help them.
So folks, especially if you have or you know anybody who has kids in the educational system, which is home right now.
Yeah.
Boy, was that a big wake-up call for a lot of people. Emmalou's podcast has so many resources for that. So I really encourage you to go and listen to In Support of Families for her podcast, and check out her Facebook page and reach out to her because she wants to meet you.
Yes.
So thank you, Emmalou, for being on the show, and thank all of my viewers for being here on the Sweet Sound of Success.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy? Really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action Coaching Program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action Coaching Program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.